protocols observed. My name is Maggie Chitonga, Chair Lady Kitui Polytechnic. Thank you. Training, Songila, yeah. Songila Polytechnic, not Kitui.
With your permission, Chair, Honorable Senators and no members present, our Governor, my name is Grace Modoni Mutua. I'm the Chairperson, Kikotech Board of Directors. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Through our Governor, my name is Timothy Chalo. I serve as the County Solicitor. Thank you.
Through the Chair, our Governor, His Excellency, and our former Governor, all the Senators, my name is Esther Mukiti Benedict. I'm a Senior Trade Development Officer, Kitui County. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, my name is David, Governor's PA.
All protocols observed. I'm Jacob Chalo Kimanzi, First Clerk Assistant, clerking the Committee on Public Investments and Accounts, County Assembly of Kitui.
Through the Chair, all protocols observed. My name is Henry Kimanzi, Finance Officer, Kitui County.
Through the Chair, all the protocols observed. I am Faith Muna, Economist, Kitui County.
Are you done? Yes. Okay, there is some people behind there.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Justus Macau. I'm former board member, Kikotech. Thank you.
Very well. I think, honorable members, everyone has been introduced, and any member joining us will be introduced as they come in. So, honorable members, I know this is a unique meeting in the sense that this is the first meeting where we are having a sitting governor and a former governor attending. So I request that we strictly observe the provisions of our standing orders so that we have this meeting productive. So I look forward to your cooperation. Honorable members, before we commence this meeting, we will proceed to an important part, which is the administration of oath of witness and the tabling of documents. And in this case, the governor, the current governor, you take the oath on behalf of your executive, and the former governor, you will also take the oath. So the clerk, please guide accordingly.
I, Julius Malombe, Governor for Kitui, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Very well. Can we also have Honorable Charity Ngilu?
I, Charity Ngilu, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Very well. Honorable members, I know we have summons that were issued to a few other people. This is Dr. Justus Macau. We have Mr. Henry Mutua Kimanzi, and we are, yes, those particular ones. I think they will take the oath at the appropriate time. But for now, you are aware that on the 19th of September 2024, this committee summoned Honorable Charity Ngilu to appear before the committee on the 7th of October 2024 to provide responses to the issues raised by the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kitui County Textile Center for the financial years 2019-2020, 2020-2021, and 2021-2022. At its sitting held on the 7th of October 2024, the committee noted that Honorable Charity Ngilu had failed to honor the summons issued by the committee. Consequently, and pursuant to Section 19 of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 6, the committee resolved to impose a fine of 500,000 shillings to be paid in her personal capacity on or before Wednesday, 13th November 2024. This is therefore to inform of the resolution of the committee, where you are required to pay the fine by way of a banker's check issued in favor of the Senate and submitted to the office of the clerk of the Senate, first floor, main Parliament building, Nairobi. So can I find out from Honorable Ngilu whether the fine has been paid or not?
Honorable Senator, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
That fine has not been paid. And Mr. Chair, I was going to request that I never really saw the summons that was sent to me. And indeed, Mr. Chair, I even nearly didn't get these summons, even for today. And it's because the summons I eventually learned came through my WhatsApp message. And the social media, you know, Mr. Chair, how crowded it is with trash, and especially those who are who have been working as politicians, you included. I'm sure you get a lot of it. And therefore, I didn't see it, and most importantly, that it didn't come from a recognized number. And therefore, first and foremost, Mr. Chair, it is just that I didn't get it. Therefore, I regret my not having been here on that 7th. But eventually, when I got, eventually this one that came from one of the clerks, and who I saw a number, and I called, I said, who is this? And then he told me, I'm the clerk. I said, what is it, clerk where? And he explained to me, and I said I would come. And only when I put his number on my phone, I could see it. And Mr. Chair, may I also tell you there are many times in some areas where I am now that I don't even get any networks. So, Mr. Chair, it was not intended to really make the committee look like I did not honor it. And that's the reason why, number one. Number two, Mr. Chair, I also could not afford that money. As you're aware, I'm not having any job right now. And even if I wanted, quite honestly, I'm very serious about this, really. But that even if I wanted, I would have wished to do so, Mr. Chair. So I really would like to ask you and the entire committee to appreciate and understand the reason why that happened.
Okay, I know you have a point to raise, but before you do so, I think let's find out from the clerk how the summons were served. Clerk, can you tell the committee how you served the summons?
Chair, the summons are served through our legal department, so I request the legal to make a comment.
Chair, I can confirm that indeed the summons were served through WhatsApp, and this was done in accordance with the provisions of Order 5, Rule 22B of the Civil Procedure Amendment Rules 2020. So yes, that's how the summons were served. No. They were served through the legal clerk of the department.
Chairman, because it's
Senator Ojenda, you are a senior lawyer, please.
The only legal person here. You are my student, so the teacher is talking now. Chair, barring service, she has referred to Order 5. I have no doubt, Chair, that proceedings of this nature, and before the committee arrives at a finding that is almost quasi-criminal, because we are punishing the former governor of Kitui County to pay a fine of over 500,000 shillings. Mr. Chair, we should ensure as a committee that she has that information, that she has deliberately defied or refused to attend to the summons of the committee. Chair, where it is clear and the legal people have confirmed that service was not personal, it was through WhatsApp, and where the governor seems to have confirmed that she was either not on call or did not see the summons, it is imperative that then we revert to where we were before. And where we were before is that the governor did not receive the summons or had not been served. It is appropriate, Chair, with the plea of the governor, and I'm stating not because I'm a counsel, but because I'm a senior counsel, that this is an appropriate situation where you set aside, where the committee sets aside orders, where the committee directs that indeed the committee ought not only to waive but to set aside the directions fining the former governor 500,000 shillings. I know she can pay. I don't think 500,000 is anything that would do. That is pocket change. But, Chair, on the fundamental basis that she was never served, it is only fair that this fine be set aside and be waived so that, and Chair, the second point is that the governor has come. Finally, she has said, upon receiving a proper invite from the clerk, she's here today. Chair, let us deal with the issue. Let us set aside this fine so that we release the governor. The governor seems to be law-abiding. She understands the nature of this committee and the powers of this committee. That's my submission, Chair. Let us set aside. Legal has confirmed that they sent a WhatsApp through an unknown number. She doesn't even know who sent the WhatsApp. That's my position.
I will listen to all the members and then I will give direction. Can we have Senator Wambua?
Thank you, Chair. I wanted Senator Tom to hear this before he leaves. He has said things that cannot go unchallenged. Chair, you should also take judicial notice that Tom has consistently failed to attend these meetings, especially on this matter, but today he just appears, makes a comment and disappears. Chair, take judicial notice of that. And then you will also decide whether to admit his submissions or not to admit his submissions. Chair, if we're being fair, because we should be fair, we must be fair, then we should have found out from legal whether they use the same mode of invitation for this appearance as they did for the first one. If you can establish that, then, Chair, you will have an easier decision to make. So if legal can confirm to us that they used the same mode and medium of communication to the former governor in the first instance and the second instance, now, then it will be easier for us to make a decision. I thank you, Chair.
Senator Mutinda, and by the way, you look like the former governor. Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. You know, also I'm a child of Kitui County. That's my motherland. I'm proud of it. Now, Chair, on the same matter on the floor, I echo the sentiments of the Senator for Kitui to also get to understand from legal so that we also set a precedence in future when we invite other former governors in such a scenario. Then how, this is the third summon former Governor Ngilu. And so, did you never ever, through the chair to the legal, never receive any communication from the beginning and from the onset? Because the current governor of Kitui, Malombe, is appearing for the third time on the issue of Kikotek, and the previous two, we seeked that you be here. So, we are just curious that either they didn't have your number all this particular time, or really what transpired. Legal.
Maybe just to correct you, the first instant, she was not someone to be here because the expectation was that the governor would, the sitting governor would respond to the issues. It is only the second time, and now, that she was expected to be here. So, legal, can I hear from you?
Yes, Chair, we can confirm that service for this current summons was done in the same manner, the same mode through WhatsApp, and this was done because the person serving the summons.
That is the aircon for this building. It is faulty. Proceed.
Yes, the reason why the summons were done via WhatsApp is because the person serving the summons was unable to find the physical address. And so yes, we can confirm that the second summons were again sent through the WhatsApp, yes. The same number? Yes, the same number.
Yeah, Senator Cherege, you are not a member of the committee, but he has come as an observer. He doesn't want to put himself on record. So, Senator Ledama.
I think, Mr. Chairman, I was looking at the Powers and Privileges Act, Section 18 and 19. Summons of a witness.
Mr. Chair,
there are two. Yes.
Pardon me. You know why that air condition is making so much noise? Because the windows are open. Maybe you close them so that it can be air conditioned inside.
Yeah. Sergeant Adam, that's your... Proceed, Senator Olekina.
I think, Mr. Chairman, even before I look at the Powers and Privileges Act, I'd like to confirm from the governor on whether she uses the same number or she has two numbers. I know as politicians, we tend to have two numbers. And how many WhatsApp messages she receives in a day. Mr. Chairman, if I open my WhatsApp, I think I have like probably, right now I have like probably 2,400 messages unread from different groups and also different people. So I'd like to confirm from the governor whether she uses the same number, she continued using the same number when she left office, and whether she has two numbers, and also which number was used to send the summons, that is from the clerk, and whether the governor still uses that number. Then it will make sense to me.
Governor, proceed.
Yes, Honorable Chair, I have only one line. And that's the line I've always had since I got a number in some, when they came into the country. And it is true, I received too many messages. Right now, and I can share this with you, Chair, on the WhatsApp message, I've got unread and some already wrapped, 1,800. And I have I rarely look at, especially if your name is not here, I rarely look. In my email, and you can look at it, it's 1,281. But I know, and I can say here, Honorable Chair, my physical address is known very well. My Kitui home is just across from that. In fact, the sitting governor passes through my home every morning. Every morning the road is like this, my home is here. And so is everybody in the county, they know it. My other home, which of course now is here in Nairobi, is also known. So I do, and my email is known. And a letter would get to my PO box number. I still think that really it was not served properly. And maybe also this is something that it can be considered in future. And even a call would have helped, Mr. Chair. So I have only one line.
Mr. Chairman, if I may interject, but I know there are other queries which were asked by my colleagues. Maybe if the governor can answer those queries first, and then I can then raise my other issue.
Very well. Proceed, Governor.
Yes, it was asked whether, again, it's the same number I've used and it's the same process that was used. Yes. How did I then know this time? This time, actually, it came from somebody from Kitui who called me and told me, what is this Senate asking you about Gikotech? And I said, what? He said, yes, they are. But I said, ignore. Actually, I told the person, ignore. Then I saw this number. There's one number that called, and I saw it in particular, and I somehow picked it, and I said, who is this? Sometimes I pick. And the person told me, I am Tangaya, and I'm calling from the clerk's office of the Senate. And I said, what is it about? And he said, you know, we have sent you a summons from this committee. I said, when did you say? And that's only when I put his number on my phone and everything then picked. And then I saw it. Otherwise, I would have been asking, and I just come and say, I hear you have invited me. That's what I would have done, Mr. Chair. I hear you have invited me.
Just on the same, Chair, just a quick clarity. On the sense
I really don't want us to spend a lot of time on this.
This determines if the senator, if the honorable governor.
Proceed.
Thank you, because this determines if she's going to pay the 500 or not, if we don't expedite this correctly. I'm just curious because in her first submissions, she explained that she rarely receives, calls that she has not saved in a number. But you're really still not convincing the committee as to why you just picked this one particular phone call.
It called severally.
Okay.
And sometimes, in your position and my position, you may think there is some agency somewhere. And then I called back just to say what it says. I didn't know the number. It's even a number that is not a normal number. There are these numbers that are not even normal. So, what do I mean by normal, Mr. Chair? The old numbers, the 0722. Those ones those are the ones. And also, there are other numbers that you call, I call you from an office. Today, the government offices are still 020, then the number. And when you see that one, maybe coming from a particular office. So this one, that's what happened.
Mr. Chairman, if you allow me, we have got two issues to deal with here. Number one, legal has clearly indicated that under the civil procedure rules, I think Rule Order 5, WhatsApp is a means of summons, service, and that this summons was served through WhatsApp. Now the governor is alleging that she has not received the summons, and that she eventually received them when she answered a phone call. This is an issue that we need to be able to deliberate on, so that we know, because it will set a precedent on how we proceed as a committee. Because this is not the first former governor who will appear here through summons, through WhatsApp. And the governor has also raised issues that her home is known. So I would like to request that through Mr. Chairman, that we deliberate on this matter for 5 minutes as a committee, so that we know how to proceed. Because there are two issues here. The governor said she has not been summoned. She never received a summons. She has also said that even if she did receive the summons, she would not have been able to pay the 500,000. So there are two issues that we need to be able to deal with. That it can set a precedent on how we proceed on future summons. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to request, if it's possible, we have an in-camera session of the committee and deliberate on this matter, and then make a decision on it, so that we can be able to proceed on other matters. Because this is unprecedented, and it is going to inform how we proceed with future summons. Whether the committee decides to go a particular way, or whether the committee, because nothing stops us from determining as this committee that summons shall continue being served through WhatsApp, just like the courts determine it. So I seek indulgence on that matter.
Chair. Okay. Proceed. So, Chair, before you make a ruling on the request by Senator Olekina, I have 2 or 3 issues to raise. One, first of all, we are challenging our own mode of operation. The Senate is sitting here challenging its own procedures. So take note of that, Chair. Secondly, and because you were in the chamber with me yesterday, Chair, when issues of the dignity of the House came up, especially the relationship between plenary and committees with governors, county governors, and that matter came up yesterday. This committee must never be seen to be abetting the worsening of those relationships, or the worsening of the status and dignity of the Senate. Chair, you all know, all of us know here, the Senator Olekina knows this even better than I do, that unless it is absolutely necessary with the determination of the chair or the speaker, all parliamentary sittings are supposed to be public. what is it that this committee is supposed to treat and decide on its own ruling? Thirdly, Chair, as the Senator for Kitui, and this I want everybody in this House to get very, very clearly. This matter came here because the auditors raised the red flag. Chair, I want you to hear this. This matter came here because the auditors raised the red flag. It did not come here because anybody, me or anybody, pushed it to come here. It's a public interest issue. The matter we are dealing with now of fine, Chair, if you ask me, it's really neither here nor there. The Senator of Kitui is not interested in getting the former governor to pay 500,000 shillings. It is not coming to me. In fact, I would rather that money stays in Kitui because she would do a few things in Kitui with that money. But this committee has made a decision, Chair, has made a ruling. Chair, give this Senate, this committee, the dignity that is due to it, and you have done a good thing. Chair, I must congratulate you. I think this is the first time that a former governor is appearing before a Senate committee to deal with audit queries, to my recollection. This is the first time to my recollection. It's a good precedent you're setting. Now don't mess it up with a side issue. You have ruled on the matter. If then you agree to deal with this matter in plenary, first of all, as a friend of the committee, I'll be out of that plenary. I'll come back and listen to the decision. Secondly, Chair, what you'll have done is you will have allowed every other governor that is summoned to come and raise objections on the summons, and then the committee must sit back and decide on whether. I've not cast any aspersions on this committee. Senator Miraj, with due respect, I'm a ranking member in this House. What due respect? I can tell you from where I sit, I have information that you don't have, that there is no precedent that you're setting by renegotiating this. This is not the first time that summons have been issued and fines have been imposed. They have been imposed before. In fact, for information, a fine has been imposed before on the same former governor. That is information maybe you don't have. So it's nothing new. I mean, and I'm saying, if then every time a fine is imposed, then committees will have now to retreat and decide whether to get the fine paid or not paid. That is the bad precedent I'm talking about. I'm not casting any aspersions. I cannot cast any aspersions on the commission.
Chair, we were with Senator for Kitui here when we were issuing that second summons. And that was the direction that to give, even if you can ask our Hansard to give out that recording, then it is only fair for him to allow this committee. Him as a friend, and I acknowledge that he's a ranking member. I'm just giving direction as a member who was here on that sitting.
Okay.
That we had an agreement.
Let me give Senator Olekina and then I give direction.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, Section 19 of our parliamentary powers and privileges reads as follows. Where witness someone does not appear or appear but fails to satisfy a relevant House of Parliament or committee, the relevant House of Parliament or committee may impose upon the witness such fine not exceeding 500,000 shillings, having regard to the witness' condition in life and the circumstances of the case. Mr. Chairman, I still reiterate that it is imperative for us, given that this is unprecedented, for us to deliberate, because this will affect how we deal with summons in future for other governors. We have the court standings in terms of how someone shall be served. Or we have also, we sit in this committee as a quasi-judicial house. under Article 125. So we need to be able to balance those two things. And I reiterate that it says may impose. It also says a person may pay the fine under subsection 1 to the clerk of the relevant house. So there is a may, it is not shall. So, Mr. Chairman, I request that we deliberate on this matter with the assistance from the legal department so that we know how to proceed further. The circumstances of this governor notwithstanding, because it is imperative that we know how to proceed. The former governor has raised an issue that we need to deliberate on so that we know how to proceed. If the committee chooses to stand by its summons and fines, that will be the decision of the committee. If the committee chooses to entertain and acknowledge her condition and her situation, then that also will be able to allow us to proceed further. So, Mr. Chairman.
Very well. Honourable members, I do not want... Yes.
Mr. Chair, by the way, we also know through WhatsApp, you can check whether somebody has received or has seen your message and on time. So I think here you may also go back and check, because it will show you whether somebody has read a message or not. And therefore, through the same number, the legal department can go back and see whether I actually opened and whether I saw it, because I just didn't say it.
Well, honourable members, you know, we need to make progress. We have a substantive agenda we need to cover, and we are spending so much time on the preliminaries. Let me direct this way. Honourable members, as rightly said by Senator Miraj, we have on many occasions retreated to consult where we feel that we need to do it outside our witnesses and other stakeholders. I see that there are matters which are more internal attached to this one regarding the way the summons were done. And we wouldn't want to really discuss our own weaknesses in terms of the way the processes was done, as suggested by Senator Wambua. So I want to direct that we consult for 5 minutes in the consultation room and come back to give direction. Yeah, I've already made the ruling. Let's just consult all these issues you are raising. We can discuss them there.
With regard to our ruling, Chair, because I think I'm part of that membership, I just wanted to ask Charity, the last summon, as you were the standing governor then, when you were summoned to Senate, the 500, did you pay or did not pay? I'm just curious on that, at that particular time.
I think that can be found. That can be found in the records of the Senate.
No, I'm just asking a simple question so that we are able to make a good decision.
Yeah.
At that particular previous time, did you pay the 500 or did not pay? Just that.
And again here, Honorable Senator,
yes,
it is how these summons are brought. Sometimes, you know, you invite the governor through an office. Please, there is also, I think, Honorable Chair, there is a way that we can also...
I'm just trying to understand the last time. Did you pay or did not pay? Just that.
You can just get to that answer.
Just, it's a yes or no.
Yes or no. What is the problem?
It will guide us in this decision that we are retreating.
You know, I really want us to manage our time well.
That's okay, Chair. It's a yes or no answer. I mean, what is the problem? And it's not even about someone. It's
Okay,
about the payment
okay.
of the
Let's give Honorable Ngilu time. When we come back, she can give us an answer. So because we are wasting time, honorable members. Understand? My hands are tied when it comes to managing time.
So, flat and legal, please.
appear or appears but fails to satisfy the relevant House of Parliament or committee, the relevant House or committee may impose upon not exceeding 500,000 shillings, having regard to the witness condition in life of the case. So the committee has looked at the two issues, the witness condition in life and the circumstances of the case, and committee on Kitui County Tax November 2024. Maybe you can sign a copy of the same. And
Governor, I know that your accounts look like a personal account. Pardon? Some consultations we are doing. Number one, we were asked to ensure, if you look at the, we were requested to make sure the officers who are complied with that. The two officers who took the oath to during the deliberations which took place when we met the following. One, certified bank statement since inception. Signatories for financial years 2019, 2020, 2020, 2021, and 2021, 2022. And 2018, 2019, 2019, 2020, and 2020-2020. $68,608,000
to be 20. What the current governor has done is to provide a summary based on what we asked. It's provided, he said that the time for you to go and verify this. This is a very simple question. The initial stages, it is 168 million. You've raised queries. And then you respond.
Thank you, through Chair. I was responding now to the specific information which has been submitted now, but our queries were based on our verification of the same, the information given, which I agree we had, and our queries were based on that.
Where the figure of 168 has appeared, and you were there when I would like you to give a reflection on the submissions that have been made before on the 168 million.
Sure. Chair, can I just, before my colleague write on this? $48,285,385. In the notes of the financial statements, can you or not factual? Subsequent to that, if you go to the salaries and wages, it has said that salaries and wages were 22,413. Now, that question relates to a second question that we ask. The current governor has summarized the withdrawal of money by Georgina to be 27 million. And in the is there a comparison? Are we now looking at bananas and pineapples? Because this is what has been summarized.
Serially, you can see on what item do you have a problem with, or what were you unable to establish out of all these items that are set?
Thank you, through the Chair. For the financial year, the statement of financial position, we have a figure there of capital injection of financial statement. And unfortunately, when we say Kitui County Government, 2019-2020, 1. In 2021.
No, just wait, Mr. Chairman, Auditor. I don't want to teach you on how to do your job, but honestly, you are reading the same figures that have been read. The question are you not my colleague? Okay. He has put it in layman terms, or my senior counsel's terms. A note. So really, we want to be specific on these matters. That is why we're here.
Capital in 2021, I guess, if we could also get those Senator Olekin on that clarity. But the committee is also curious on those additional capitals that you are talking
about. The first part, the first question, we don't have that analysis. The additional information which has what I was explaining is what we audited that year. We said it was not sufficient to give us the composition of 168 million.
My last question on that, and this question now goes to the Governor. Governor, the supporting documentation on the building and civil works that amount to documentation, so that we can then, be able to tell whether it is true or not.
Let's just be specific, and let's take even just 2 items. And then we go to salaries and wages. And I think what Senator Olekina is asking, which is a very valid. Which is consistent in all the documents. This figure is consistent. Now, the easiest thing for anyone to do, Chair, is break it down to get to the final figure. That would be the easiest thing to do. I think 285,385 for building and civil works. It's construction of buildings within Kikote and all that. We have LSOs, to say this person got this tender, they built this thing. That's 8 million. Then on the second one, on salaries and wages, remember, Chair, seconded from the county. The figure variance with the for withdrawals we are told we are to pay for wages. So can we also get clarity? But in your computation, the total amount for salaries and wages is 22 million. And figures.
Okay, I think let me give it to Mark to help.
Composition.
The statement of financial position reflects capital injection of 166,219,000 position of the injected capital in form of current or non-current assets stated to have been injected. What was the composition and what at the time of audit, Chair? And that is the reason why that question now is also part.
Managed to get a specific audit query that responding to. So, which I would like you to respond to. Then do that. The submission time, because today you have said the total transfers were 168,600,000. To Kikotech from 2017, 2018 to 2021, 2022. Of your previous responses. So maybe you can respond.
You
can have my.
Mr. Chairman, 89, that is startup capital. The figure of 390 something, that's a total for 3 financial. Of the startup capital is the one indicated, the non-current assets and the current assets. What I will request the acting CEO to talk to is the detail compose the startup capital. Are we together? For example, building and civil works. The acting CEO or the then chief officer for trade, because a lot of matters at the beginning were being handled at the ministry level. Yeah, maybe Mr. Macau, Dr. Macau, acting CEO and Dr. Macau, they can elaborate on that. Thank you.
Through the chair,
proceed.
The makeup of this analysis, for example, the building and the civil works, we did not have any evidence or supporting document for the makeup of this 48, 285, 385. Reason, these activities were done during the time Kikotech was a program in the Ministry of Trade in Kitui County.
Yeah, just on a point of clarification. You know, Governor, is futility. Because you, having appeared in this committee, what you've gone ahead and broken it down to 48, 285, 385. Your staff You do not have the records. Where did you then figure there to try and create this balance? I'm just a bit confused. And now I understand where the auditors were finding it difficult. This information was not provided. And I think, Mr. Chairman, we do have a staff who worked in that Kikotech before. And I don't know whether they have seen this information. To be able then to give us a breakdown of this 48, we can be able to make progress. If we cannot even down of this expense, this expense, this expense. First, and trust me, I have a very serious background in accounting. Do you want, when you did this breakdown in the analysis from and was because this 48, I assume, was not paid in cash. Now that we do not have this information and the senators demanded this information, give us this check and this check and this check, who it was paid for, so that we can carry out the due diligence.
Honorable Senator, and I agree. Were with us here, who were there then, and who assisted in preparing this. Of course, the question comes to me, but I'm sure. But I bear responsibility. Thank you.
Chair, let us ask the governor. What is available? You can only give evidence if then you cannot give it unless then you cook it. Yeah? So from where you sit, Governor, does this evidence exist? And is there documentation to support the 48?
Correct.
And Chair,
as I said,
before the governor answers, our Chair, so that we don't go back. Because these figures, there's no way of scrutinizing. We might have even gotten our answers then. But nevertheless, the whole project was done as a program, or this figure says that it was of trade. Even if it was done, probably you can explain to this committee how it was done. Was it labor-based? Was it the trade? Do that, you must have the evidence, receipts, the tendering program, tendering documents, and so on. So probably these figures, look into these figures afresh. Thank you.
So Chairman, as shed light on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now to chip in at this particular time.
Okay, maybe before I allow serving as CEC, and he was a member of on this matter.
But yeah, just to, I think all these issues that should be responded to by yourself. In fact, the former governor has no business
submissions by the governor. These individuals, and I'm sure all of them are here, you were the signatories of the bank account. The 48 million was not paid by cash. It was. Can you then now respond and say, sending this check to this vendor?
Honorable members, when you raise honorable members, before you proceed, I'm just guiding. What Senator Ledama is the next issue we are going to, the reviewing the bank statements.
You know, and you know, Lakina is my friend. How would you know?
I'll explain how I don't know. How I know that.
No, let us do it.
No, this is. Amounted to 27 million. So, and I asked a question, was the 48 million paid in cash? And I could see the lady sitting next to the governor nodding and saying no. That is the only reason why.
But you see, the explanation will be. It could as well be, Chair, it could as well
understood. But no, honorable members, let's move systematically. We are on the issue. Come to the issue of bank statements. So Macau is in a better position to give us more information on this.
Thank you, Chair, for this opportunity to make clarifications on these issues raised. Maybe there are some misconceptions on how the payments were done. These procurements was still under the Ministry of Trade, and all the payments were done through IFMIS. Transaction trail in the IFMIS, we should be able to get these figures. It was through open tender and quotations. About 8 million shillings. As at now, I cannot be able to give. I've been away from the ministry, from the county for the last 2 years.
I think left the county 4 years ago, as he says. So you no longer work for the county. You left with the former governor. Yes. Now, in that case, who is the custodian of this document? Because you cannot ask an outsider to provide documents. Because once you leave government, you don't go home with them. Chair. So the person to give us the document is the current government, the governor. Now, if the governor does not have this document, and we are told, you know, IFMIS, the good thing with IFMIS is that there is a trail of transaction. Okay? So if probably the governor, the current governor, is hiding information, not providing information. So, Chair, I want you to think of it as we are dealing with somebody who is out of government, who relies on the accuser to provide the document. So you need to look into that issue, either to compel the governor to produce. If there is none, then the committee understands that, and then we take it to the next level. Otherwise, the issue of where the document, did you bring them, you cannot bring what you don't have, and you have no access. And that's why sometimes it is very hard for us to provide any document. So, Chair, I wanted to bring that issue so that we can only rely on their oral submission. Then from there, the committee makes the deliberation, Chair.
Honorable Member.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. On the first issue and the future governor, proceed.
You know, this is very interesting.
And the Senator agenda, you have to declare.
That area, I will declare that interest later, if it doesn't. My chairman in Rose Committee say that the former CEO in trade the documents because they are office documents and all that. But you know, Chair, there is the knew that he was coming here to give evidence on this matter. Officers to provide information, and it will be very specific. In the first few months of my office, I had issued a tender to so and so to do this. You know, Senator Dangwa says supposed to get information from his accusers. For the information of my chair, people who brought this query, and I say that from the word go. By the office of the Auditor General. There is nobody who is accused. And you know, Chair, we're only asking about 48 million. We're not asking 48 million. You know, why is that difficult to get?
You know, Mr. Makau, you know you are a senior member of the Kitui County government, and now I know you are also a senior member of the national government.
And from the ministry to Kikotech, which is only one letter that that Georgina had written to the then CS, and the CS said that they can go ahead and transfer. Then I replied, hi, we are not able to trace how you arrived at the 168 million startup capital and procurement stroke transfer of assets from the ministry to Kikotech. If you can please support me on where to get most of the information, I can collect and share with you. So that's where we reached, and I spoke to him over the phone, and I said the only thing that I cannot substantiate is the elder source. Like, we cannot. And also when we queried the IFMIS on the figures, because it is on one lump sum figure, 48 million. We don't know whether it was a breakdown of many figures, or it was one lump sum of 148. So it's also become difficult to query IFMIS because you don't know how these figures came into place, and that is really what we want to follow up. I submit. Thank you.
So back to you, Mr. Dr. Makau.
To answer my senator about whether I did any deliberate effort to get the information, I think she has answered.
You're answering to the committee, not the specific senator. Or your answers are to the committee?
Through the chair. Through the chair.
Yeah.
And Chair, please allow me. And while answering, you need to keep in mind what the CC, are you CC Finance? CC Trader said that in IFMIS, and you've alluded to IFMIS before, that in IFMIS she just found this one figure. Is that what you said? What did you say? The 48 million?
We can't find any figure relating to 48 million, or in our procurement documents, we can't find an LSO towards building, and you can't like lift a figure of building to aggregate to 48. Maybe we can find the document.
Thank you.
Makau.
Thank you. Yes.
And then after Makau, you need to make your response.
Then, Chair, at some point, then we should know whether prepared the financial statement is here, so they can tell us how they got the 48 million.
Yes, proceed.
Thank you. Of November, the message I did for WhatsApp was a follow-up message on the email that I had done following up on this issue. August, and these buildings had already been done in that financial year. But what is gate? There's so many components of the buildings that were done in Kikotech. I was expecting the people to provide this information, because this figure from the procurement files, from the I think it was an error. There is some information that is missing, because there are 77 items. That is the first one, the page, the first figure, the first procurement plan, what should be provided. This one. Okay, 7. There are 77 items in that procurement plan, but it is only one page that has been. I'm asking about the first one for 2017-22. $37 items. Okay, so there is a list of another 30 items. So these buildings should appear in the procurement plan of 2017-2018. And the vouchers should be the vouchers that were paid as at the end of June 2018. The year closed as a. So all this information, it should be there. I do not have but with proper document trail in IFMI's procurement plans, we should be able to reconstruct this figure of 48 million.
Chair, just kindly on the same with the same gentleman, the document you've alluded to, if you look at the next annex, it gives us all the items, 77 items. They have, and the first page item, services, the number, electricity bill, 208. Provided yet the second annex gives us the 77 items. Lastly,
before you continue,
on the WhatsApp message from the current CEC trade, she reads for documentations. If my English got understood from her message, you ask for efforts, and Senator Kitui had consulted you so that you can be provided with documents from the same office. Can you clarify that?
Okay. Including their different documents, because the one is 2017-18. Yes, they're different.
Different financial years. What exactly are you saying? That it was. Who is it that then did these buildings and civil works?
Through the chair, I'm responding to him, and I don't think we are here to point fingers, but I came when I mentioned this, okay?
So then, Chair, sorry, don't we say? Million is the former CEO, the one who did the
Who's the former CEO? Mr. Kimanzi, what was your position?
The Macau
Just
said,
hold your horses.
Macau
Hold your
said,
horses.
it
I think we have had him, and I'm concerned that we are not making good progress. But I will allow Mr. Kimanzi, who was then in charge of the finance.
Through you. And I was there as an actor. So in terms of documentation of the buildings, the construction works, So I cannot, as an acting finance manager then, I cannot provide those assets and any other expenditure for the county government.
Chair. This issue of figures, because it's kind of boring, and I'm beginning to fall asleep when I listen. I can see Equity Bank. I can see mostly Equity Bank, I think. The budget office to do the analysis, so that we figure out what was cash, what was paid by check, what was donated, because now it's like even to the Department of Trade, or I don't know which department. So there is a lot of mixtape here. So may I suggest, Mr. Chairman, that on these issues of figures, we do a forensic audit on it. That's number one. Number two, we now go to the other issue, the other three issues that we raised. Because this one, we will spend hours here going back. When something happens, if I leave my office as the Senator of Narok, I'll leave the documents that I have. If there's anything
Chair, I hear what was already can I say? Is whether you can direct for us and for purposes of the people of Kitui then. Yeah. Is there even a possibility, Chair, that perhaps actually a possibility? I don't know. That
computer engineer, but when I look at what has been provided here, I'm asking myself, well, a lot of an expense could be categorized as a current asset. Salaries and wages for the governor. The gentleman there. Peter Yoma is here.
Yes, Chair, I'm here.
You are here?
Yes.
You are then the accountant, and then now you have become the acting CEO.
Yes. Chair, by that time, Enrique Mans was the one who was the accountant. I only since they were needed by the Office of the Auditor General.
I'm also now listening to I think, Chair, I think, well, and that would be a decision. If they actually kick or take a crime scene, then that would be a decision to make. But surely, Chair, we're being taken around in circles.
Gentleman, you said your name is?
My name is Peter Yoma.
Peter Yoma. Peter. Yes. Do you know it's an offense? and you are liable for the financial statements you sign. For the financial statements you sign. So that one, I leave it to the committee to make a decision on that.
(2021), and the account and the person who prepared those financial statements is Henry Kimanzi. Henry Kimanzi did not have the enable him to sign the financial statement. So Henry should be
So you signed something that you do not. Mark, can you tell him the implication of signing?
Not an ISPAC member.
No, he's saying that he signed, but the one who prepared the
Can you tell the committee the implication of signing financial statements which are misleading?
Yes, yeah, that's most. Adhere to the professional standards. Thank you, Chair.
I think I'll leave it to the committee to make a decision when they retire to do the report.
Yeah, just share quickly on the same through what Senator for Kitui had queried. Really not gotten. The answer of Mr. CEO. Where did you get just the figures that you, just in summary, bila kwenda njia mengi? Where did you just get the figure for computers of 158,000? Just that.
Those figures were estimated. If there is an who was given that work to do, and then document to support those.
Let me help you. Incriminating yourself. Why can't you just avoid those answers? Because you are making it's not that was estimating. You are not even there. Sure.
But Chair, yes, as we try to get on that question and the issue of how did you get these figures, and CPA the number, ISPAC number, so he had to sign. I think the committee should ask now, who is that person?
He's here
for you to sign.
Yes.
I mean, we need to get to the information. He's here.
Yeah, he's here.
Who is that person?
Henry Kimanzi.
Kimanzi, come here. Yes. I mean, we are not here to push anyone. We are just here to get the information. Then the committee can figures from.
Through the chair, thank you, senators. I would say and he came and did those statements. I was just providing information for him. And for the year 2020, 2021, we did custodian of the custodian of the physical vouchers or physical evidence as pertains to that question of capital injected is They're starting at March 2020, when the board.
I don't think we'll get a lot of information from the witnesses before us. But I'm very surprised that somebody can say, so we bought this machine, so but for us to justify the expenditure that has been made, we called a consultant to tell us, when you look at this machine, how much do you think it will cost? Then, because I have a justify at the end, so he gives a 20 million, he says, no, reduce a bit, so that we can get to 106. The people between this are better. This is a joke. This is actually a joke. And I'm so surprised. Must send the right signal to everyone that the people of
so, honorable members, Ngilu, I give you a chance to
I
respond.
just have one thing to say, first and foremost. And obviously guided by the governor, the city, understood before people come before the Senate. Bad to feel Kitui senator, who has been there, this is his second term, say that he doesn't even know whether there is a building. May I ask you, the time, because that building is there, and you can also visit it. Honorable Chair, in my manifesto, when it was in ADP, and the assembly when we presented it, and everything also went through the controller of budget, and everything, all the system were used properly. So I do really appreciate the effort that to understand what this Kikotech is, even to ask the Office of the Auditor General and see, and then get all documentation out so that they can go one by one. I can only say in another county. And for me, they help those people who are doing what they have not done before to understand it, because this county and how we try to put and actually employ. So really I want to ask the Honorable Senator, if you can find it in you, in it, the building in it, the training that has been done to these young people, and of understanding what has gone in there. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
relax.
Member, let's Honorable Ambuere.
Thank you, Chair. And I'm just hoping that by my visit,
I can't invite him now because I'm not the governor. Please.
That's okay. We'll make a point of
Let's be very clear. Let us go there. And the document 2021 account. And when the auditors went there and asked questions, what was the documentation? Because that's what is required. And our inquiries is we couldn't find any.
So now that she says she can't invite me, then I take the challenge to visit. And I was saying, I hope for Kikotech, then will be available. Chair, if getting the proper documentation for Kikotech, if the only thing has not visited, I can leave now and in 2.5 hours I will be at Kikotech. And those documents then can be made available. Chair, let's not lose focus. And I told you, Chair, in our meeting in your office, who is going to be very, very sober on this matter. It is the Senator. Because through this Kikotech, county now you heard from yourself that progress from the first item, we can't move from the first item. Have been challenged. Why I have refused, utterly refused, of the county government of Kitui, would have wished to use my visit to Kikotech to sanitize an illegality. I will demonstrate in this committee, Chair, that a company called Kitui County EPZ Limited, which is funded as a county entity, is from Kikotech. We'll get to that point. Buildings and where they exist or that do not exist, Madam Charity Ngilu. I was just informing my friend, Senator, that, let's keep an open mind. Perhaps there is documents that we have, so that we don't talk a position of misinformation, as you're saying. The information that has been provided to this committee and to me as a Senator of Kitui County, to everyone, that this, Chair, and that you deserve the right to do, that
we need to make progress, and I want to give direction on this specific issue. Yes.
Please, just one. Please, Mr. Chair, let me just one.
I don't want it to look like.
No. You know, if
proceed.
If the Senate because this is a very serious committee that need to understand an organization that can help train young people just from the Kikotek, because Kikotek is next. It's the same. And I said, instead of training young people and telling them go and look for jobs, we'll do it in the same. And this is the same place, again, to inform this Senate, where we have started Kitui Teachers College right there, to eventually move land, or government land. It is where we start to then eventually move to the bigger place. And I can say here, part of Siongila actually you know, this politics. And this is something that needs to be understood. He talked about EP. Was to make sure that eventually that Kikote can transform equipment that was bought there, went through all the cabinet meetings and everything. These documents together and they bring them. Otherwise, I do not think there is anything personally that may have been done outside. It may be that what they have given, and they'll be given answers. So I truly want to say that the land belongs to the county government of Kitui. And it will, and that's where everything Kitui. I want to thank you.
Yeah, let me give direction on this matter. Honorable members, it looks like we are documents to support this issue of 168,000, and the only document we have here 2.2 and item 2.3, combine the two, given that we are running short of time, and the officers who have been invited to come.
When the Kikotek regulations were gazetted, after the regulations were gazetted, the Board of Directors was gazetted on the 12th of February, 2020. During the transition period from the program to the county corporation, some senior officers, including myself, were seconded to support the Board of Directors as its secretariat. That would include the acting finance manager, who is here. We had an acting HR manager, and then we also had an acting procurement manager. The team is the one that midwifed the transition until the substantive managers were recruited. That's why we have the Peter Yoma here, and the former CEO and others who were recruited later on. Now, the Board of Management approved the signatories to the 2 bank accounts. Kikotech has 2 bank accounts, and that is since March 2020. We have the revenue account, which is number 07202796968877. And then we have the operations account, 07202796968894. The revenue account is meant for receiving monies or funds from sales. I must emphasize that since the board took over, all the monies you'll see on that revenue account are from purely sales. The operations account, on the other hand, is intended to make payments for expenses incurred by Kikotech. The funds would ideally be transferred from revenue account to the operations whenever there are payments or transactions to be made, and that was subject to availability of funds. It being a business like any other, there are times you have money, there are times you don't have money. So we would accumulate transactions and only transact when there's money. That's why sometimes you'll see maybe there's money transferred and at the same day there are transactions being made. We only transact when their money is available. The CEO, who is the accounting officer, and the mandatory signatory, acts as a custodian of the bank accounts on behalf of the board of directors. The authorized transactions via approved budgets were made to facilitate various operational expenses, staff allowances, and board of management allowances. The accountant was introduced to the bank to transfer the CEO, and in as much as the CEO's name appears in the bank statements or in the check, the CEO is not the user of the money. The Corporation Act describes the role of the CEO that would include, of course, responsible for the day-to-day management of the corporation, directions and affairs and transactions of the corporation. Further, the regulations, specifically Regulation 9, Sub-Regulation 2, provides that the expense of the corporation shall be paid from monies received or generated from the corporation's operations, grants, donations or gifts, and monies appropriated by the County Assembly of Kitui. The Board of Directors approved the budgets for both the revenues. We had revenue targets from the Board of Management and mostly from the sales, or actually purely from the sales, and also the expenditures. That would include the cost of sales. The Secretariat undertook the day-to-day activities with approved budgets while providing regular reports to the Board of Management or Board of Directors. Now, how are we transacting? And that answers your concern, Chair, in terms of the cash withdrawals. First of all, just to clarify, there were no cash withdrawals. That's why the first transaction you'll see on that bank statement is checkbook. We had a checkbook and the custodian was a finance manager. But how are we transacting? First of all, just like any other government, be prepared with the officer's name on it. Then a check will be prepared. A check can be on the officer's name, like now Faith Mona name. Faith Mona was not a cash transaction. Faith Mona was an activity that was being paid. So her name appeared on the check for the activity that was being paid. Sometimes we'd combine transactions, like just I've said. We didn't have money all the time. So you'll find one check paying several vouchers. So once the check is done, the signatories would then sign at least two. The instructions from the bank or to the bank were at least two signatories, with the CEO being the one who had been signing. So the signatories would sign. Then the check would be presented by the accountant, not the bearer on the name of the check, like Georgina. I was not the one going to the bank, sorry, Chair. So that the check would be presented. And this was through the operations account. That's why you see the transaction, the operations account. And finally, the facilitation of the concerned officers would be done through the finance department. That is still the practice up to date. If you look at the transaction later on, even after I left, you'll see the name of the CEO, Ben Jackson. You see even now the name of the acting CEO, Peter Yoma. It does not mean he's the user of the money. It's just a check that bears his name, him being the custodian of the account on behalf of the board of directors. I need to say, during the transition period, the board of directors did not develop the finance policy. We were only able to do the HR policies, and the rest, I am told later on, they developed a finance policy which has strengthened financial management of the institution. But we stood guided by the PFM Act, the County Corporations Act, and the Kikotech regulations. Chair, of importance to note, Kikotech could only make payments based on the availability of funds. I need to emphasize that. Sometimes we had delays, even in payment of wages, because we didn't have money, which were occasioned by delays in receipt of payments by our various clients. Just like any other business, you transact and sometimes you get paid late. Finally, in the 2 financial years and periods I was there, 1920 and 2021, the corporation made sales approximately of 128 million. And in 2021, we made sales from 2 or 3. Who are our clients? Most of them are government entities. I must say, Chair, 1920, most of our sales, if you look at that revenue accounts, were PPEs. You remember in 2020 from March, COVID was here, and we were able to take advantage of that opportunity and get some businesses for selling PPEs, masks, scrubs, and other items. So in 2021, we made sales of 203. The targets from the board for both periods were almost the same, and we were able to meet the targets set by the Board of Management for sales. Additionally, I must say, Chair, we still made profits. 1920, the profit was 6,896,000 as per the financial statements that are with Auditor General, and finally, 2021, we made profits of 4 million. Thank you, Chair. I submit.
Very well. Georgina, you have made your statement very clear. But looking at the information you have provided yourself, which is contained in the bank statement as well, you made various transactions, cash withdrawals via check on your name on different dates, and some of those items that you were withdrawing money for are items that ideally should be paid directly to the person offering the service or the firm offering the service. For example, on the 29th of May 2020, you withdrew 172,000 shillings to be paid for feasibility studies. Who was doing these feasibility studies?
Chair, I'm assuming that transaction through the governor you're mentioning is one for Faith Mona, I would assume.
Yeah, that is for Faith Mona. You also withdrew on various dates staff allowances, sometimes on the same day. For example, you did staff allowances on 28th. You did 1.5 million. Then a day after, you also did staff allowance of 644,000. Well, why would that happen? From your explanation, it is not linking with what you have provided here.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. What we have provided is a summary of the transactions, either operational or staff allowances, or the Board of Management facilitation. And I won't speak, maybe I can just explain, but what I have said, Kikotech did not have money all the time. Let's mark that first. We had to get paid to transact. We have to make money. Actually, we have to first get the client, get an LPO, get it serviced, then get paid. Most of them are government entities. So sometimes there are delays. So anytime we would get paid, we would take care of any other accumulated transactions. For example, if an officer has gone to the field and has come back and there was no money to pay them, they would raise their voucher and it would wait for money. So when the money comes, we combine several vouchers. Then the accountant would sign the check with my name. I repeat, Chair, I was not the one going to the bank. It is just a check bearing my name, being the custodian of the accounts.
You see, Madam Georgina, you know, from your explanation, we understand your explanation. But you know, it is, and the auditors are here will confirm, that is against the PFM for you to just make numerous cash withdrawals. They are in your name. And even you are going further and even alerting us to another offense, why the bank was able to give out cash when you are not appearing in the bank yourself.
Chair, thank you for your concern to the governor. I have explained the accountant was introduced to the bank to transact on behalf of the custodian of the accounts. The CEO is the custodian of those accounts on behalf of the board of directors. But of course, the CEO cannot keep going to the bank. It is the finance manager who does that.
Who writes a check and then someone else goes to the bank to get the
It is
money?
him who goes to the check, to the bank, sorry. The check is opened with the custodian's name on the check. It goes to the bank to facilitate officers. I am not sure whether withdrawals are a crime. I would want to know which section of the law provides for that. But the payment vouchers, the interests are there to support all the transactions. The checks will just be written based on the availability of the, based on the vouchers available and the interests are available. Then the accountant will transact on behalf of the corporation.
Okay, very well. You can take a seat, Senator Mutinda.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, through you, I would want Georgina to tell us if they have the documents for approval of budgets, because one of the issues that we are struggling with is the issue of documentation, because she talked about they had approved budgets. Are there documentations for this? Now, how was money transferred, Georgina, from the revenue account to the operations account? Georgina, who was the user of the money? When money was collected, because you've really emphasized who was spending this money? Chair, through you, for equity, where I proudly, most Kenyans do bank with Equity Bank, with an open check that the bank can give you the money in cash and immediately and promptly. So, do you want and Charity Ngilu goes to Equity Bank with an open check and a
Give an example. Give the senator.
Okay. Assuming I withdraw. I withdraw. Then, assuming it's written, goes to the bank. Tabitha Mutinda goes to the bank with this check. You want to confirm give me money. I would want that clarity, Chair, from Madam Georgina.
Yeah, I had asked the same thing. Georgina.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Through the Governor. Yes, I can confirm we have approved budgets and procurement plans. The board took over in February 12th, 2020. If you want us to table the budgets, we can. The budgets are not the same as so the budgets are just to facilitate the cooperation. As I will say, there are revenue targets and also the sales cost of sales was provided for you. Were transferred from the county executive to Kikotech. We had to make money from selling items, and I can even give you a list of a few clients, but the statement should be able to show. State House was one of them, a few counties, KEMSA. You asked who is the user of the money. I had explained and said, just to be paid. Sometimes board of directors would meet and they need allowances. Actions on based on what you are paying. About the open chair, Honorable Senator, through the chair. Yes. Is this your check? What's the amount? And they transact. I don't have to be the one going to the bank.
The question you did not answer, Georgina, I asked you about the money transfer. I asked how you transferred money from revenue account to the operation, because you said you have two accounts. I didn't ask the monies from the Kitui County, the monies that were transferred. Operate and expense on operations, you've clearly stated. So how did money move from the revenue account to the operations account?
Thank you, Chair. There was paperwork done.
Honorable members, maybe before you put in your questions, to make a comment on that matter of cash withdrawals. Yes. We are calling it cash withdrawals because with an open check and get money. Proceed.
Maybe, Chair, the officer could clarify. Ordinarily, that used to be done before IFMIS came in, and those cash transactions were later discouraged. So, the question maybe the senators would want answered is, wasn't it the right process than an officer withdrawing the cash? Such money is sent directly to that other particular officer, because those IFMIS came in.
Tech is not under IFMIS, the corporation.
You know, one thing I like about Georgina is that you are very confident, even. But you are very confident. So let's have Senate.
Georgina is. Oh, sure. So, Georgina, you are an accounts person, is it? A finance person. Kikotech is not on IFMIS, that's fine, even if it is not fine. no, they have gone on a retreat or whatever it has done. The economy is in you, and I'm almost not an accountant. What would be would it be easier for Enoch now to go and withdraw $1 million shillings, go and pay and give each person their due, or would it be more prudent to just pay the money directly to the accounts? Or unless then again you are telling us that Kikotech also operates like we do with our house. You to be a member of staff for Kikotech, whether those will be deposited. Would it be easier to just send money directly to good practice? I don't know.
Through the chair, summaries you've provided is true. It makes sense to pay the officers directly. And if you look at directly to their accounts, if you look at the statements, you'll see different names. To incur, we are still setting up systems. We didn't have the capacity to do that, but officers' names, that was worked on over a period of time. Thank you.
So then is it an admission? Actually, you got it wrong.
Chair. That had a lot of costs to incur and improved on our operations. Thank you.
I'll answer for you, then it was wrong.
Senator Tangwa.
From what I'm hearing, it feels that Kikotech was operating like a private company rather than a government entity. And with that, I would want Georgina to clarify. From this statement, we can see there were mobile withdrawals, you know, through the easy platform of Equity Bank, the 2-4. So how was that? Why was it?
We all do it in our personal accounts. You just, and the money is in your M-Pesa. And that's why Mheshimiwa is saying you are operating more like
Initially, when we started, we didn't have the bank system. We had just the checks. But after some months, the accountant can confirm when the operation was automated to the extent that you can transact from the online system. It's not mobile, it's an internet banking system. So instead of going to the bank with checks, we would transact directly now to the officers' accounts without going to the bank. That's why over time, internet banking transactions is what you will see. That's part of improving the efficiencies. Now we stopped paying monies directly to, we stopped using checks. Instead paying direct to the officers.
Chair, when it comes to bank, when you're dealing with the checks, you might have several people to sign a check. Now, on this issue of
Yeah, thank you, Chair. The mandate from the bank still remains the same, 2 signatories. So the accountant is supposed to initiate the account, the transaction, then 2
Yes.
We have very few minutes to go to the chamber.
Because it is making reference to bank statements. So we'll still need our budget office.
The concern was that, you see, the last time we met,
yes,
there were serious issues raised about very little time.
We are coming to that. So I think Faith Muna, I would like to hear your voice on the transaction you made.
Because it was a common activity and it came into my account.
Why didn't you do an imprest?
Cash or check?
We just did a claim.
You were paid cash or by check? Check. Your name was written on the check and then you went to the bank and collected 172?